that you have given me is about the law of karma. Yeah. This is how the Buddha defines karma. Buddha said, Chetanaham bhikkhave kamang vadami. Chetayitva kamang karoti kayena vachaya manasa. Chetanaham bhikkhave kamang vadami. That is, Buddha said, Chetana. Chetana is the volition, the intention. The volition is the kamma, I preach. So this is how the Buddha defined karma. And then the Buddha said, Chetayitva kamang karoti kayena vachaya manasa. Having generated that volition in the mind, one commits karma through body, speech, and mind. So karma is a force. It is a force that is generated through the body, speech, and mind with intention. So when we look at this, how the Buddha defines karma, we have to understand that during the time of the Buddha, this word karma is widely used. It is accepted. However, there may be differences in the interpretation. So this is how the Buddha interprets what karma is. It is intention. It is the conscious motive in our mind. And then we perform it. We act to our body, speech, and mind. Then there are two kinds of karma. And generally we say kusala, akusala karma. The word kusala, akusala, and rendered into English as good or bad karma. Sometimes we prefer to use the word wholesome or unwholesome, skillful or unskillful. So we can use these words to explain. But what is important to understand is this. The Pali word kusala, it actually comes from the word kusa. Kusa is a kind of grass, a species of grass. Both sides of the grass, they are very sharp edges. And that sharpness is actually to cut. To cut what? To cut the tendencies of greed, hatred, and delusion. So kusala karma, wholesome, you can call it good karma, wholesome or skillful karma. The aim is to cut, to reduce greed, hatred, delusion, lobha, dosa, moha. That's the idea we have to get. And now when we do some good actions, we perform some good karma, actually we feel there is some kind of force that we feel ourselves. There is calmness, there's quietness of mind, and then sometimes we also have some joy. Yeah. And but when we perform some bad action, akusala karma, some unskillful action, that may give rise to some kind of a gross feeling, some unpleasantness, and sometimes also give rise to remorse. Yeah. So the good karma, kusala karma, they are conditioned by good roots. There are good roots and there are bad roots. Yeah. All our unwholesome action, all the unskillful, the bad actions, they are conditioned by greed, hatred, delusion. On the other hand, good actions are conditioned by the opposite. Opposite of greed is generosity. Opposite of anger, hatred is loving kindness. And opposite of ignorance, delusion is wisdom. So there are three wholesome roots from which you get all the wholesome actions, thought, speech, and body actions. Then you have the three unwholesome roots, greed, hatred, delusion. They will condition wrong thoughts, wrong speech, wrong body actions. Wrong thoughts, such as covetousness, ill will, wrong view. And then wrong speech, that is lying, slandering, harsh and frivolous thought. And wrong action, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. So these are 10 kinds of actions, unwholesome actions, which are conditioned by the unwholesome roots, greed, hatred, delusion. Yeah. So what is important for us to understand, these roots, they are actually the criteria of morality. In the Buddhist perspective, this word morality is much misunderstood in our contemporary, in our modern society. Many people do not like to hear this word morality because they have the idea that what is good for one person may not be good for another. And what is good at one point of time may not be good at other times. That is how some people have this kind of understanding or interpretation. But this is not right. Yeah. In Pali, when we talk about morality, we talk about sila. And there are two kinds. Sila, there are two aspects of sila. Pakati sila, panyati sila. Pakati sila is naturally occurring moral law. That is the karmic law. It's naturally occurring. Then there is panyati sila. Panyati sila is the man-made, prescribed rules, regulation. Yeah. So, when we talk about just the 5 precepts to avoid killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and the indulgence in intoxicants. Of these 5 precepts, the first 4, they are naturally occurring. In other words, if you kill or steal or you lie, even if nobody knows about it, you yourself will feel some unpleasantness, you will feel some kind of remorse. That is natural. This is naturally occurring. Nobody needs to know that you have done the wrong thing, but you yourself will feel it. Yeah. That is what we call naturally occurring moral law. When we transgress, when we go against the natural law, then we feel some unpleasantness. And the other thing is abstinence from intoxicants. That precept by itself is not a moral law. It is not a naturally occurring moral law. It is a prescribed one. Yeah. So, and the prescription, because it is prescribed so that it is to safeguard all the other 4 precepts so that we do not violate them. Yeah. So like this, there are many prescribed laws, like the traffic law. Yeah. And you violate traffic laws and you get fined. Yeah. It is not a moral law. It is a man-made law. Yeah. So this is something that's important, because when we talk about law of karma, we are actually talking about the law of cause and effect, or moral causation. Because cause and effect, if you talk cause and effect, there is also physical. There are physical aspects of it. And those who study physics, when you study delta and atomic theory, you see what you call Newton laws. Yeah. And every action has an opposite equal reaction. Yeah. Cause and effect. That is at the physical level. That's a natural law. Yeah. But what we are concerned tonight is the moral law. And this karmic law of karma is actually just one of 5 natural laws. Actually, we can explain all the happenings around in the world through what is called Pancha Niyama. Pancha means 5. Niyama, order, cosmic order, or natural laws. So there are 5 natural laws. We call them natural laws. There's no lawgiver. It occurs naturally. What are the 5 natural laws? Firstly, we have Uttuniyama. Uttuniyama is with regards to heat. Uttu refers to heat. So the heat order, or thermal, calorific order. And this accounts for seasonal change, like what we are having, winter, and then comes spring, and then comes summer, autumn. And there is no one that is manipulating this. It is natural, the heat order. Yeah. So because the heat, the currents, the winds, everything happens like that. That is Uttuniyama. Even our body, the heat in our body, right? Sometimes we can get imbalance of heat, and yeah. Then there is another order called Bija Niyama. Bija Niyama refers to germinal order. This is the genetic order, hereditary order. That means, and when you plant orange seed, you don't get an apple tree. Yeah, and so this is according to the genes, genetic order. Yeah, bija niyama, and there is nothing. This is just a natural law by itself. Yeah. Then the third, yes, we call this karma niyama. This is the law of karma, the law of cause and effect, or moral causation. We say good begets good, evil begets evil. Yeah. Then the fourth one, the fourth law, natural order, is with regards to mind, chitta niyama, the mind. And this explains there are certain phenomena, like, for example, clairvoyance, the ability to see things which the physical eye cannot see, the ability to hear what our physical ear cannot hear. That's clairaudience. And the ability to read others' mind or communicate mind to mind, telepathy. This is the order, the mind order of the mind, how the mind functions. Certain conditions, that's how the mind functions. Then there is what we call Dhamma niyama. Dhamma niyama covers all the other natural laws. And what is mentioned especially is, especially during the time of the birth and the passing away of Buddhas, certain special spiritual phenomena, you can say miraculous phenomena happens. Certain flowers bloom, yeah, and even though it's not in season, yeah, it will bloom. And so these are natural order. Then another aspect of the Dhamma niyama also explain what you call Satya Kriya. Satya Kriya is the act of truth, especially when you live by certain dharma, certain truth, and you are confronted with some danger or some illness. And if you can make this act of truth by the truth of all the merits that I have done, by this truth may I be able to overcome this problem or this danger, then it happens. These are no magic. This is actually the order. There is an order. It's a cosmic law. We call the Dharma niyama. Even gravity and what Isaac Newton found, the law of gravitation, that is a natural law. It is not given by anyone. No lawgiver. Yeah. So these are 5 cosmic order or natural laws. And karma, the law of karma is just one of them. Yeah. But the law of karma is very important because it plays a very important role in our life. especially to move, to progress from the worldly to the spiritual and to gain liberation. This because the law of karma actually it operates at the mundane, at the worldly level. Like what the Buddha taught, Sabba papassa karanang kusala sopasampada sachitta paryodapanang etang buddhana sasana. Buddha said, avoid evil, do good, purify one's own mind. This is the teachings of all Buddhas. So the first two, avoiding evil and doing good. This comes under the law of karma. Purification of mind, this is to go beyond the law of karma. We'll talk about that later. But for time being, what is important is when we talk about the law of karma, we say good begets good, evil begets evil. Yeah. But in actual day-to-day life, in actual experience, we sometimes see, not sometimes, we often see some very kind people, very good people, how they meet with various kinds of misfortune, suffering. Yeah. And on the other hand, there are those people who lie, they cheat, and they are very cunning and cruel, but they seem to enjoy their lives. Yeah. So how do we understand law of karma if we say good begets good, evil begets evil? Yeah. Here, in the Dhammapada, verse number 119 and 120, Buddha said, an evildoer sees good as long as evil ripens not. And in the same manner, a good doer sees evil as long as the good ripens not. Here, what is meant is this. When we do some good actions, we perform merits and lots of good actions, but we have to go through various obstacles, and sometimes we meet with all kinds of misfortune, illness, accidents, and so on. So, is this the cause of our good actions? No. The bad actions that we experience, the misfortune, and they are not caused by our good actions. They are the ripening of the bad things which we have done in the past. If not in this lifetime, then it must be in the past life. When the karma ripens, conditions, then the things ripen. But when the conditions are right for the good karma to ripen, then we will see the good things. Yeah. So this is something we have to understand. Yeah. The law of karma actually explains the differences that we have. There are differences that we experience in life. Why some are born in very miserable condition. Others are born in very comfortable. And some are born rich, some are born poor. These are because of karma. And But you must not judge things immediately, because the workings of karmas are pretty complex. It is not just black action give rise to black result, white action give rise to white result. And what about black and white action give rise to what result? If you are a painter, you're an artist, you will say black and white equals gray. But karma is not like that. When we say black action gives rise to black result, means when we do something bad, we do some unwholesome action, we will see the unwholesome effect. We say white action gives rise to white result. When we do some good action, some wholesome, skillful action, then we will see the good results. But what about good and bad? When we perform good action and bad action, it does not cancel off. But what we experience will be, we will experience good result, but at the same time, next, there will be also some bad things that can happen. And this is very common because until such time we develop our mindfulness and have the purity of mind, there is always the tendency of doing good and bad things together. Sometimes you have good intention, but you don't have the purity of mind because you have some kind of ulterior motive, which may not be so good. So that action is not a pure action. So this is where understanding of karma is important to understand. You know the differences, why one is born genius, like Bach, Beethoven, and precocious child. And how do you explain all these things? We explain this because of the past. So the law of karma also explains this lifetime and next lifetime, past life, present life, and future life. So according to the law of karma, what we are the result of all the past thought, speech, and action, what we have done in the past. But what we will be tomorrow and in the future, the result will be from what we are doing now in the present. Our present thought, speech, body action will condition our future. So if you want to know how much good or how much bad things you have done in your life, in your past life, one way to see is just to look in the mirror. When you look in the mirror, you can see your form, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your body, and how you look. Because our past life, the actions which we have done in the past, they condition our present. They are a molding force. So that is why in the case of the Buddha is said to have perfected his virtues, his qualities, like the Dasa Paramita, 10 perfections, from life to life. And Buddha is said to have his features. There is 32 major marks of the body and some 80 minor marks, like how the head, the ears, his facial looks, his hands. These are from the perfection of his actions that conditions his body and his radiance. Yeah. Of course, today, and we can change slightly the effect of past karma. And if we don't have such good looks, we can always go to what they call cosmetic surgery. Yeah. And they can have double eyelid or double chin. Yeah. To look a little bit better. Yes, you can do all that. But as you grow older, things may be different. Yeah. So, and the law of cause and effect, actually we can change certain things. Why? There are many things that we can change. Because we say that karma is actually the volition, intention. Most of the time when we do something, when we act or we speak something, most of the time we don't think very seriously. We don't plan. But there are times when we execute some action with a lot of planning. We plan this way. Like, for example, when we want to do some good actions now, you arrange this Zoom session. Then there are many things that involves, yeah? And you have to inform people, you have to do all sorts of coordination. And so there are a lot of good thoughts, but your intention must be good. Yeah. So if your intention is good and you think about it again and again, then that marriage becomes very strong. That is why this Vasa, during the time of rains retreat, 3 months, right? And especially the Sangha, the monks or nuns, and they will take that occasion to cultivate their minds. And in some places, they will take that occasion to promote Dhamma, like what you are doing now. Yeah. And these things are done every day or every week, all the time when you practice. So all those people who sponsor, all those people who support, they acquire much merit. Yeah. That is because a lot of wholesome things, a lot of karma, good karmas are generated during this period of time. It is concentrated. And that's what they say, Katina Pinkama. At the end, where people offer the Katina robes. Yeah. So, karma, something that when we do something with intention, sometimes the intention is very strong. It will produce results immediately. Yeah. But sometimes, not only immediately, some actions when you do, the result may come not only in this lifetime, but also life to life. Like, for example, there is a story of Magandia. Magandia actually gave birth to a girl, baby girl. And as it was during the time of the Buddha in India, even now, during the time in many Asian many countries, they don't like to have girls, especially when they only have 1 or 2 children. They want boys. So what she did, she actually threw the girl away. Because of this action, Markandeya experienced for 7 lifetimes, for 7 consecutive lives, when she was born and the parents threw her away. Yeah. I have seen once in a temple in Malaysia, yeah, I have seen a dog, and this mother dog has given birth to, I do not know, 5 or 6 puppies. And then after a few days, and I keep on seeing one of the puppy in the drain. Why? Because whenever this particular puppy goes to the mother to get the milk from the mother will push this puppy down and the puppy will fall into the drain. Yeah. And it happens again and again. So when I picked up the puppy, yeah, and then I blessed this puppy, yeah, because I thought this is a puppy that must have done certain karma, must have rejected the baby. Now she's being rejected. Yeah. And do you know what? And after blessing this puppy, and one of our devotee and saw this nice little puppy and say, "Can I have it?" So I gave it to her. And this puppy is now still living in somebody's house, yeah, and very happily looking after very nicely. So please don't think that simply because you have done some bad karma in the past, you may have some sign of bad reaction. But there's some good karma that you have done. Yeah? Like this puppy must have done something good. Then somebody comes and to offer to bring this puppy up. In the same manner, some people are born in a very poor family, miserable family. But as they grow up, one of the relatives or somebody may adopt this child. And then this child goes into the home of a millionaire. Yeah. So this is how it's difficult to judge the workings of karma just by thinking, by rationalizing. It's difficult to gauge this karma. Yeah. Karma works on conditions. Now, why is it? In the Mangala Sutta, the first discourse, the first verse, Mangala Sutta, Asevanacha balanang panditanacha sevana. Avoid the company of fools, associate with the wise. Respect and honor those worthy of respect. Why? Actually, when anyone, the child or even an elder, when he comes into contact, associate with some good people, the good conditions, the wholesome energies, the auras, the vibrations, and the goodness of the good people who have good thoughts, loving thoughts, these condition certain karma to ripen. That is why when we associate with some good people, wise people, yeah, then we restrain automatically the bad karma. We don't use bad words. We don't use wrong action. Right? And for example, when we conduct meditation retreat, where people observe mindfulness, continuity of mindfulness, 7 days, morning to night, morning to night. During that period of time, what happens? They keep noble silence. So, certain karma of the past, the habitual tendency of cursing and swearing, they restrain. So this is how you can change. This is how transformation can take place, right? By avoiding evil, doing good. Yeah. So that's so much for, perhaps we talk about this, but what I think we need to talk about more is about the application of the law of karma in our day-to-day lives. Yeah. Because as I've said, karma plays a very important role. In fact, every moment of our life, we are experiencing the ripening of our actions, what we have done in the present as well as in the remote past. Like, for example, what we did this morning, and we are experiencing, especially if we've done some good actions, we have meditated, cleared our mind, then we are actually experiencing the result immediately. Yeah. Then we go to sleep. But when we sleep, we may have some dreams. Yeah. Do you know that even in dreams, we can generate karma? Yeah. Dreams can also generate karma. One day, when I was studying in Sri Lanka, I saw a young monk. His hand was bandaged. And then I asked him, what happened? And then he says, Amdrune, he says, and what happened was I had a dream last night. And I dreamt something. Then I took my hand and I punched person. And then I realized I punched the wall. So my hand was injured. So in the dream, you can also generate the kind of intention, right? Violent intention. Yeah. And so that's why we have to sleep also mindfully. Yeah. Mindfulness, these things. Yeah. Then what I want to say is that before we turn on to these things, because I said that we have done a lot of actions, good and bad, but sometimes our intention is not so strong. Sometimes immediately we just decide to do something. We don't premeditate. We don't think a lot about it. So the intention, the intensity of the intention is not so strong. As a result, that karma, that action, also not strong. When the conditions are not there, that karma will not ripen. It is called ahosi karma. It's null and void. You have to understand like this. When you plant seeds, when you take the seeds of, I do not know, some alfalfa seed or beans sprout, and you grow. And then you grow what you call mango or some other seeds, yeah? And you find that different seeds, they sprout. And some will sprout very quickly. Some will take long time to sprout. Yeah. And some not viable. Some seeds cannot sprout at all. Our actions are also like that. Yeah. And if we do some action, there's something, and all the conditions are there, because the action we have done, intention is very strong. There's a lot of energy. there. So it ripens. It will ripen very quickly. Or it can even ripen in few lifetimes. Right? But sometimes the action that we do, intention is not so strong. Then the karma, the result when it comes, when the conditions are not favorable, it cannot ripen. It becomes ahosi. So this is how we can get away with many things, many certain karmas, by associating with good people, right? Getting into the right conditions, so the bad karma does not ripen and it becomes ahosi. But there are some karma that are very strong, very strong intention that you have done, right? And they are very strong actions, like killing of mother, killing of father, trying to kill what you call killing of arhat, trying to kill Buddha, and schism. These are kind of actions called garuka karma. They are strong. They will definitely, somehow they will ripen. Yeah. So this is how we can understand the kind of karma. Now, in our day-to-day life, the application of karma, first we consider about guidance, how we guide, especially parents, how they guide their children to have a proper, what you call, training, proper education, proper, what you call, profession, yeah, career guidance, yeah. It's very, very important for parents, if they understand the law of cause and effect, the law of karma, they must observe the child from very young days. Because when the child is has not associated, has not built up social contacts and so on, not influenced, this child, the condition, the behavior is actually conditioned by the past. Certain, what you call the subconscious, from the past actions, conditioning. Okay? So parents must be on the lookout. That is why the early child educationists who deals with early childhood education emphasize actually the first 6 years of life, where parents play a very important part to provide the kind of loving, tender care so that this child will grow and feel the kind of security and be observant, listen, and see the actions of the children. There is a story of how a little boy in America, and you can find this story in YouTube, and I think it's on reincarnation. This little boy, 3 or 4 years old, one day the father was changing the diapers, and he looked at the father and he said to the father, he said, Daddy, I was doing this for you. And the father, could not believe, because the father thought it's just a baby talk. Yeah. But what happened? After a few days, and when the father was looking through a photo album of his father, this little boy came and sat on his father's lap. And then he looked at the photograph And when there was a photograph, a class photo of his father, this little boy pointed out straight away and says, "Dad, that's me." And then more photos followed. There was a photograph of an old car. This little boy pointed out quickly and said, "That's mine." So this little boy actually, and you may not like to believe this thing, but this boy was his own father's father. He was his own grandfather that born in the family. It is not always the case, but the chances are, this is where we come to the next one, is relationship. All our relationships, they are all conditioned by karma, karmic link. Yeah. Even all of you who are listening to tonight's talk, we have some karmic link. Yeah. Nothing happens by chance. Your own mother, father, your own children, yeah, and people around you, they are your karma. That's how we have to understand the law of karma. If we can understand this, then we can overcome a lot of suffering. Yeah. I remember once when I was still what you call the Buddhist chaplain to UTS, one day I received a phone call from a student, and he said, "I have big problem. I cannot study. My mind is very disturbed because I was going steady with a girl for 3 months. And now I see her with another boy. I really cannot study. Can you please help me?" Then I asked him, "Why do you call me?" He said, "I think there's something in Buddhism called karma. I don't quite understand." And then I started to explain to him about karma. Our relationships, how long you are able to be with one another, depends on your karmic link. Those people who have lived from life to life, from life to life, the karma, their bonding is so strong, it's very difficult for them to part. But those people who do not have the kind of strong karmic link, after a few months, after a few days, after a few years, they part company. Yeah. I have this experience from one woman from Taiwan. After coming for a retreat for 2 weeks, she said, "Bhante, I want to go back, but I'm very afraid to go back, because when I go back, every time I see my husband, I will quarrel." Then I asked her, "How long have you been married?" She said, 40 years. Then I say, "You must be very lucky." And she says, "What lucky? Every day I see him, we quarrel." I say, "If you can quarrel for 40 years and yet you stay together, he must be loving you so much." I say, "Is that so?" I say, "Of course, there are now so many young ones who come together, quarrel for a little while, after a few months, few years, quarrel, they part company." So this is where you have to understand the karma, these things. Yeah. Strong karmic link. Yeah. Okay. I would like to touch one now because as I mentioned, this law of karma governs our worldly life. If we follow the advice the Buddha gave, avoid evil, doing good, then what happens is our life, we will have a relatively peaceful and harmonious life. And that will create the condition necessary for us to develop further, to go beyond, because our aim is to go beyond this law of karma. How to go beyond? Don't forget, avoid evil, do good, purify one's mind. This is the teachings of all Buddhas. So it is the purification of the mind. How we purify our mind? Through the Noble Eightfold Path. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. When we restrain Sila, for example, right speech, right body action, right livelihood. We practice, we avoid the wrong speech, lying, slandering, harsh, frivolous tone. We avoid wrong body action and wrong livelihood. What happens? The tendency of greed, hatred, delusion cannot rise, cannot manifest at the level of speech and body action. So we don't harm others, we don't harm ourselves. But our mind, we can still have bad thoughts. Even if we keep quiet, we don't do anything, but our mind, we can still be cursing and swearing others. Yeah, bad thoughts can come in. So that is why Sila alone is not enough. We need Samadhi. Samadhi is to develop your concentration. Right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. When you develop Samadhi, the tendency of greed, hatred, delusion will not manifest, cannot manifest at your mind level. So you experience the calmness, the quietness, the peace of mind. Yeah, that's how we experience peace of mind. But after our meditation, when we get up of meditation, then we see things, we don't like certain things, we argue with people, anger, aversion, craving, all comes up again. Why? Because that samadhi alone is not enough. And that is why there is another phase of training called panya, to develop wisdom, insight. When we develop wisdom and insight, then we will be able to see things. We'll be able to see the impermanent nature of things. We're able to see the unsatisfactory nature of things. Yeah. Much as we like to be perfectly happy, but in this life we cannot be. Yeah. Much as we try to avoid bad, wrong companies, but sometimes within our own family, we will find within our own brother, sister, we cannot get along with. We have to live with them. Yeah. This is due to karma. I like to point out one thing. Why? I sometimes wonder why. Some people, when their parents are old, they put their parents in the nursing home or in the old folks home. And the parents sometimes live very long life. I know of one woman who is 100 over years old, and then another one is also 100 years. They live a long life. I think there's something to do with certain karma. Because, you know, our parents or grandparents, we are born with, we are connected somehow. And the natural process when we relate, when we do our duty, we are bound to face some kind of the clearing of karma, what you call karmic clearing. So when our elders are living with us, looks like they are giving us all sorts of trouble. Sometimes they will make us very angry, they will talk nonsense, but they are clearing karma. And sometimes we also get angry with them. So there is an exchange, what you call a very active exchange of karmic listening. Yeah. So when certain karma is over, then they die. It's solved. Problem solved. But when they go to the old folks' home, they don't have the kind of active exchange with their family members. So they go on living for a long time. Not only that, in those places, they will inject because they want them to live longer. Yeah. So as we age, even when we die, this law of karma goes on. Yeah. And, sicknesses. Not all sicknesses are due to karma. Buddha mentions specifically, there are certain sicknesses that are due to bile, phlegm, and blood, humor, that means the liquid part of the body, the imbalance, sometimes due to heat, seasonal change, sometimes due to our own, carelessness. When we fall down, we get injured. It's not due to karma. But there are certain sicknesses that are due to karma. Yeah. And you can try and you go and get healed, but somehow it will come back again and again. Yeah. Karma. When the karma ripens, then it goes on quickly. Yeah. So, understanding karma, we must understand that, and doing good is just not enough. Especially those people who are living relatively in peace, harmony, and very comfortable situation. That means to say you are enjoying the result of certain good karma. Don't wait until the bad karma comes. So while you are enjoying the fruits of good karma, you must make sure you take that opportunity to develop, to purify your mind. And it is only due to the purification of mind through Sila, Samadhi, Panya that you stop creating karma. Because as you purify your mind, what happens? Your mind becomes more and more quiet and silent. So you break the habit pattern of your mind to create thoughts. When you see, you hear something, you don't create the kind of thoughts. It is the creation of thoughts. When we see, hear something, we give values and we create thoughts, then craving arises, anger arises, and that's how generate karma. But when you have, your mind is silent, your mind becomes more and more silent and peaceful, and still, that is how we break the karmic formations. And then our actions becomes, it's no longer called karma, it is called kriya. Kriya, they are pure action. So the arahats are those who are free from karmic thing, but their actions, they are pure actions, but they are still affected by their previous karma, what they have done in the past. Yeah. So there are two things. When we want to develop, to work for enlightenment, we must first of all go beyond karma. And then there's also our habit patterns, our habitual tendencies. Yeah. And these habitual tendencies takes a much longer time to clear. In the case of the Buddha, Gautama the Buddha, we are told how by perfecting his virtues from life to life, Buddha actually cleared so much of his karma. And in his last life, he had only maybe about a dozen karma to write that. Yeah. So that is how the understanding, and those who have the kind of the wish to enlighten others, to help others, when they see suffering in the world, then they develop the kind of compassion to help sentient beings to cross the ocean of samsara. So they purify their minds. And as they purify their minds, and how do they come back? They come back, they are born or they manifest not due to karma, but through their aspiration and their compassion. The aspirational force and the compassion will condition them to appear, to come back again, and to help sentient beings. Yeah. So I think that is so much for tonight on the law of karma. And I just would like to summarize and just this thing and what the Buddha taught. Yeah. Sappa papasa akarana kusalasa upasampada sachitta paryodapanam etang buddhana sasana. The first two, sabba papasa. Papa means the akusala karma. All the bad things are conditioned by akusala, right? So in other words, avoid all the bad things. Kusalasa upasampada. Arise, develop all the good things, right? This is law of karma operates at this level. Sachitta paryodapana, go beyond karma by the purification of mind. So, by the merits of this occasion, let us share this merit. Before we share merits, just bring your minds within. Observe the calm, the quietness within. And in the calmness of mind, just have the good wish that may all beings be well and happy. In your wholesome state of mind, share the merits with all the Dhamma protectors, all the guardian deities, all those who have been guiding and protecting you, including the guardian deities in your locality where you live. And the traditional owners of the land, may they rejoice in this marriage. And in so rejoicing, may they give blessings and protection to all. Let us also dedicate merits for the spiritual well-being and happiness of all our departed relatives, teachers, and friends. Whoever that comes to your mind, have the good wish for them all, that wherever they are born, may they have opportunity to receive Dhamma, to be guided, to grow in the Dhamma that will pave the way for them to be released from the cycle of birth and death one day. With all your good thoughts and the merits that you have acquired, please make your wish, make your aspiration that all this merits will pave the way for you to have opportunities so that you'll be able to further develop and purify your minds. Purify your minds from the tendencies of grasping and various forms of clingings and attachments, from the tendencies of anger, of hatred and grudges, and the tendencies of delusion, cultivating the qualities of generosity, loving kindness, and wisdom, so that you will have the purity of mind that will give you the strength to confront and overcome whatever difficulties, whatever obstacle that may arise in your life. That you will grow in wisdom and compassion, be able to make good use of your lives, not only for your own happiness, but also for the welfare, for the happiness of the many. May all the merits pave the way for you to progress in your life, succeed in what you do, succeed in your studies, in your work, that you be able to fulfill your worldly duties, responsibilities, and at the earliest opportunity, may the seed of enlightenment be sown in your hearts for you to walk the noble path, to be free from all sufferings one day. And may you also have the wisdom, the compassion to help others, whoever that comes by your way. So please make your wish, make your aspiration once again. And this time, whatever immediate problems or obstacle that has arisen, have faith, have confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, that you will have the blessings, the guidance, the protection, so that you will have the strength, the courage, and wisdom to overcome whatever difficulties, whatever obstacle that has arisen, bringing these obstacles into the path of your practice so that you can swiftly develop your full potentials and accomplish whatever that you need to accomplish in this lifetime. Please make your wish and aspiration and think of those who are near and dear to you, whom you wish to bring the Dhamma to. Bhatu Sabba Mangalam Rakantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddha Anubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhatu Sabba Mangalam Rakantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhamma Anubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhatu Sabba Mangalam Rakantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sangha Anubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te. Abhivadana Siddhisa Nichang Vada Pachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vadanti Ayu Vanno Sukhang Balam Ayurarogya Sampati Sampati Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samitatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, Amdruni, thank you. Sadhu, rejoice is all of you. Yeah?
Most Venerable Sir, thank you for your valuable time for us. Today, much merit for preach the today special Dhamma sermon, and we wish all may Triple Gem bless you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And there is another Dhamma sermon about Sasara beer at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. That will be conducted by Venerable Galigamue Gnanadeepa Thero. We hope you all participate with us. Finally, may Triple Gem bless you all. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.